Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Bill's Sea-Doo Midlife Crisis. I am Bill, and here I am. Welcome to the beginning of 2025 season. Just turned a few days of May. We just rolled into May, and as you may be able to see, the weather it's not great yet. So we're not riding yet, but I do have my machines back, and just a quick review. Nothing new on my machines. 2014, 2014. This is a GTX 155 suspension model, and this is the GTI SE 130. Both great machines. I love them. We're having great experiences with them. We're going to do a little bit of pre-season maintenance on them, a lot of which I've already done when I put them away, oil changes and plugs and things like that. But what I do want to do on both of them is take the pumps off, inspect to make sure that they don't have any water intrusion into them, make sure they're still sounding good, kind of put my mind at ease for that. The other thing I really want to do on this 155, which I wasn't really able to do last year, I've never done it actually, is raise the top up, get the engine cover off, and get access so I can more better see the carbon seal and the carbon ring and the seal itself, and also get access to some of the clamps, water hoses that I haven't been able to reach because there's such limited access. So I've never done this before, the raising this up part, and truthfully, I can't find any videos on YouTube other than there's a couple that are they show how to raise the intelligent suspension version of it and take it right off. I've never seen a video on just raising it up, although I've seen pictures of it, just never seen a video on how to. So I'm going to shoot a little video how to. This will be my first time doing it. I've never done it. I might not do it right. I've watched a bunch of videos, like I say, on how to do the others. So I have an idea, and hopefully I can get it done, and hopefully I can show other people who might be wanting to do it how to do it if they're a little, because I'm apprehensive about doing it. I've never done it. I don't want to screw it up, and I'm totally a DIY, not mechanic, just a guy who likes to work on stuff and learn. So here we go. I'm going to give it a try. Okay, so the first step is to get the back deck off. So I have to unscrew this. This is a little strut that just unscrews. Usually this is attached down here, and my little zip tie, I'm not even sure if you can see it, but I had a zip tie holding that down like that. And anyway, it came off. So this is spinning freely, and that just undoes, and there you go. And then this just comes off. Easy. Step number 2, get all these bolts out. These are T25 Torx. Get these all out, and this little guy, which is a 9mm, has to come out here, and this will come out. This one I have. It's supposed to be clipped in, but I always have it loose because that's how I get to my battery, and that's it. So I'm not going to bother recording me undoing a bunch of bolts. So I'm going to take all of these out, and then I'll come back. All right, so all of these screws came out of here, 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 and there's one way down there, not way down there, but I had to get my larger extension to get down there. It's a little tricky, like a lot of things on a jet ski. If you drop it, sometimes it'll fall into a spot that's hard to get. So I just loosened it up till it was out and released. And then what I did is, I did this before, is I picked this whole thing up like this with the screw still in there. So this comes off, and I'll just put it here for a second, and then this should come out. It's been in there for a while, so it's bear with me. Actually, it's in there tight. There we go. So let me get this, just lifts out like so. And now I'm going to put these over here, and this side, same thing. This lifts off, and my screw isn't actually all the way out, so hang on. Let me get that going. So there we go, like that. So hopefully you can see that. That's just another one of those, and same with this. Out it comes. Okay, so here we are. This is the left side of the ski, and as you can see, there's my IBR. There's the bilge pump that I installed, and my water box, and then way down there you can start to see in the various thingies under here. And then same on the other side. Most of you will be familiar with the other side, which is the battery, of course, and that's all set up the way it is. This is different than the video that I saw. So looks to me like maybe this has been off already now that I've got the covers off, because you can probably see the little mark, and the little mark, because it does say in the videos that I saw about this, is to mark this so that you put it back in the same spot, because I guess there's some play here. Other marks, no marks on the front, just on the back. So anyway, that's news. That's a little change. So again, this is why I'm apprehensive about these things. Anyhow, next step is to get rid of some more of these inside the engine compartment. So let's jump up to there. GoPro stuff. So most people who own one of these will also be familiar with the way this engine compartment looks. And here, these guys have to come out. They're holding on, I guess, an air vent there. The covers attached to it. And those have to come out here and here. And I guess this over here as well, which I'm not even sure what the heck that is. Part of the coolant has to come off. And then all of these guys, that one, there's another one there, and then there's some up here at the front, and same on the close side to me. So those all have to come out. So I am going to do that. Those are all the same Torx 25 by the looks of it, and those are probably that same. That might be a 10 millimeter, but anyway, we'll figure it out. And we'll get all those off so that we are ready to take those off, and hopefully this will all rise up and we'll be able to pull that out. So I'll come back to you once I have all those T25s out. All right, about 15-20 minutes later, I have all of these bolts out here as well. Over there, I can't get these ones at the back, which I think I have to get once the deck rises up, but those are all out. And just of note, they were every single one of these was only hand tight. So I'm not sure if that's on purpose or not, except these guys that were in the coolant reservoir, they had Loctite on them, so they were kind of tight. But everything else came out pretty easily, just reaching in. So the only tip I would say is make sure that your tool is not the kind that's going to release and fall off. Like, make sure they snap on well, because it's tight in there, and you'll probably lose a piece in the bottom if it falls off. Next step now, as far as I can tell, are these guys. This is the part I'm most scared about, but I am going to, I'll take most of them off and then I'll come back. So here is a little public service announcement. Hopefully I don't look like an idiot doing this, but these bolts, I've got 3 of them out already, have lots of thread locker on them. And in some of the other videos that I have watched, there have been a lot of warnings against trying to over torque these when you're taking them out and breaking them. And then, of course, that would turn into, that would just wreck this whole thing. It would turn it into a huge problem. I don't even know how I would solve that problem. I'd have to figure that out. So the tip that I got, this is a 13 millimeter, by the way. The tip that I got, so I've got some WD-40 sprayed in all of these, is that when you start, like you can see, it's tight, really tight. This one might be the tightest so far. The trick is you back it off a little, and then you actually tighten it back a little, and you repeat this, being very patient, because apparently this helps break up the thread locker. And even though you're not making much progress, you eventually break up the thread locker and it breaks free, and then you can get them out without breaking them. So the other thing is, once I get it open a little more WD-40 in there to help loosen things up a little. And here we go. Oh, okay, see it breaking up a little now, loosening up. Back, forward, back a little, forward, back a bit. And once you start to feel it get free, you can just undo it. But that is the trick, for what it's worth. Try not to break any bolts. GoPro stop. Okay, got them all out. Didn't break any. So I had to use that little back and forth method to get them all out. They were in there pretty tightly. But as you can see, they came out. And what I can tell you is, when I got down to the last two, it started to lift up. And I could basically hold it down with one hand, which I was wondering how much tension would be on. So I was able to hold it down with one hand and finish with the other hand unscrewing the last couple screws, and then it just popped up slowly. I mean, you have to hold it. It would pop up if you let it go. And then I just tied that up there with a set of cable ties, and we're all set. So I'm going to take these last 4 bolts out and see about getting this out of here. Hopefully I can. The only thing I can think that might be a problem is the getting it around the coolant. But let me get these bolts out first, and then we'll pick it back up. Okay, so I got them all out. At least I think I have them all out. And as I suspected, the trouble is around. There we go. Voila. So, as you can see, you don't get a ton of access here with this in the way, which is the airbox, I think. So, from what I understand, and I don't know if I have it 100% right, but I think I can disconnect right here. Let me get the light in there so you can see. I can disconnect right there, which is the throttle body, if I'm not mistaken. And I can disconnect right there, that little guy there. And I think this whole thing will lift right out. And it's connected, but it's disconnected over on the other side, which I have a disconnected so I can move it just enough to get my oil filter in and out. Anyway, I'm going to try to disconnect those two. This one, throttle body, right along here, and this one right here, right there. See what happens. Okay, so I was able to pull this hose right here out of the throttle body down there, just to the right. And up at the front, let me just show you, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Up at the front, I've moved this now right down, see, right down here, right here, where my flashlight is touching. If you can see that rubber band sitting there, that hooks on to this giant air filter that sits here most of the time. I've just lifted it kind of up and out of the way, and I could take it out if I wanted to finagle it out, but I think for the purposes of me getting a look at my carbon ring, I don't really have to. So I am going to try to get a look at my carbon ring now, without taking this whole thing out. So let's see if I can do that. I will say this does provide access, but not a ton, if I'm being honest. This would be very hard to work on like this. Plus, it's up on the trailer, so I'm up a bit higher as well. So it's tricky. I'd have to get it off the trailer to work on this if I wanted to do this repair. So hopefully I won't have to. So I am going to try to mount the camera so you can see, and then get down there and have a look at the carbon seal. Okay, so first of all, if we're looking around the hull down here, there is no, you can see, you should be able to see, right beside that cable tie, you will see just to the left of the bellows, you'll see that small line of carbon dust. And on this side, same thing, which is perfect in terms of wear. That's what it's supposed to do. What we're trying not to see, or hoping not to see, is carbon dust all over the place in here, and there is none, which is really good news, overall. So we get, let's try to get the light right on here, and if I get my hands down here, it's tricky to move this out of the way and still be able to see it on the film. Let's see. Let me grab a screwdriver to see if I can move this away. Okay, so when I get right in there, to me, it looks okay. I still have some good bevel on the carbon ring right there, and the top hat looks okay. And I don't have water issues, so you know what? I think we're okay. I really do. Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take the opportunity to tighten everything up in here, that all the clamps and all the bellows and anything I couldn't reach before, and I'm going to call it a day and put this back together. Maybe clean up under here. And it's so dirty. That's a spot that you can't get at when you are cleaning it. You can't get down here. So that's what I'm going to do. So mission accomplished. I will do a few segments as I'm putting it back together, but I think all in all, this was so far it was okay. So I've got to get this airbox back in place and hooked back up. And but before I do that, I'm going to try and tighten up a few things down. All right. Okay, so fast forward an hour or so, I have checked everything in there, tightened up all the clamps, done everything I wanted to do in there, seen the carbon seal, which was the main reason, and I have cleaned up the cover, installed it back in. It was actually really not hard. aside from the awkwardness of the getting at these bolts. A little bit awkward. Had to reset. There's a seal that goes around the underside of this, so I had to kind of get that back in place. Attach the coolant and the vent up there, which was not hard, and pretty much all set. Washed down the gunnels here, both sides, because you never get a chance to do that, so I gave them a nice wash. They're looking pretty clean, and now I'm about to cut the twist tie, drop this whole thing back down, and as you can see, I've got my little plates in place. Actually, do they go there? They go on top. Yeah, I got to double. Yeah, they go on top. They don't go there. They go on top of it. So these go back down, and then the plates go on top, and then line these back up with my little markings that I made, and I've got 2 bolts ready to go with some thread locker on them. I've cleaned off the old thread lock and got some new thread lock ready to go, and hopefully we're good to go. So I'll put the camera up and I'll record me doing this, so if I screw it up, you guys can see it. Okay, so here we go. I am going to cut this so this can come down, and there we go, back down to where, that's how that looks. And then these are going to come back, line up with my lines, and I'm going to try to get, might be tricky to do with one hand, but let's see if I can get it one in. Oh, I think I can. Okay, so that actually wasn't that hard. So I'm going to pause for a second because I have to clean some of these bolts up, and then I'll come back. GoPro stuff. Okay, so I got this all lined up, and I've got all the bolts in and cleaned up. I'm going to grab the camera to show you what I did. So see my lines here? See how this one's moved over a little, and this one's obviously moved over a little as well to the right, and this one's a little to the right. And the reason I did that is I always had that space or that gap right here always rubbed, and here it always didn't. And I'm also looking at that gap right there and this gap right there. Impossible to get them perfect, but I did take the opportunity to shift this whole thing that way just like a smidge before I tightened it up. So now I'm just going to tighten these bolts up, and then the rest of this is really just putting it back together. So I will do that and then maybe sum up. Okay, well, I'm all buttoned back up. It's all put back together. I'd say all in all, it took about, I don't know, 45 minutes, an hour to put it all back together. And it probably took 45 minutes, an hour to take it apart. So doing that procedure, which is, having done it now, not difficult, is kind of time consuming though. And when you do finally get that rear end lifted up, the only way you get any access to the carbon seal is you have to take out the whole air filter contraption that is hooked up to the throttle body. As you saw in the video, I didn't take it all the way out. I just moved it out of the way so I could see what I wanted to see, and then put it back in. But it would only be maybe another minute or so just to get that whole thing out if you wanted to get access to something else in the motor. So, I mean, in the end, yeah, it's a total pain to do. It's not hard to do. I'm glad I did it. And having this was like a two-part, had two purposes, this video, this little job. One was to learn how to lift the back of the ski, which now I know I can do. And I think if you're handy enough, I feel like anybody could do that. And two, I want to check my carbon seal at 260 hours. I don't have any problems with water intrusion, and the carbon seal itself looks like it still is in good shape, still has a nice bevel and has space left on it. The Everything looks good in there. Tightened the bellow up slightly. It wasn't loose, but I could tighten it a little bit. I tightened up all the visible uh, hose clamps, mostly for exhaust stuff. That they were all like tight, but not they could all be tightened a little bit. And otherwise, judging by the lack of carbon dust down there and just the way it looked, I feel comfortable. Obviously, with an older ski like this, you have to keep an eye on it and make sure you're not taking on water. I have a bilge pump just in case I do start to take on water. And truthfully, I don't ever go that far from shore, so I'm usually able to get out of the water, or at least to shore, quickly if I need to. So I don't worry too much about it, but I did want to do that. Anyway, that's the end of that video. Hopefully it helped anyone who's thinking about lifting the back of this of their suspension ski to get in there to do maybe the same thing or something else. Anyway, hope it helped. Thanks for watching.